Sure, disappointing, but I want to assume the best about those guys. I know that they are wanting to serve our community. Nobody runs for office without expecting to put in the hours and to gut it out. So I'm assuming the best about why they couldn't be here today. I don't know what it was. Well, actually, I do know that Mr. Nair had a previous work commitment. So I respect that they have their own schedules. It's disappointing because I think a lot was accomplished for the good today as far as information and communication is concerned. And I hate that they missed that. But we'll be looking for another opportunity to give them a chance to air their concerns. As far as the EDC board is concerned, we want to work with the city council. I feel like we've done that well in the past. Hasn't always been portrayed that we did that well in the past, but for those who were involved firsthand, I think they would report that we did do that well. And I don't see any reason why we can't continue in the future to work well with the city council. If they have feedback for us, we want to hear it. If there's a way we can do our job better, we want to hear what their thoughts are and how we can improve, because the city is the one that wins in the end.
Prior to this meeting today, or had anyone on the board talked to any of the newly elected city council members?
As far as I know, Mr. Nair had never been to a board meeting. And I did call him on Friday when I found out that he wasn't going to be able to be here on Monday, because so much of what's happening, we just need to initiate direct communication. So he was kind enough to return my phone call, and we had a brief and productive conversation that I think will lead to an even more productive meeting this week, when we just begin the conversation of what the AEDC does, and for him to understand how our process works, all of that. He's, I think, going to be a very willing learner about that, and once he has all of that information, then I think we'll be on the road to being able to work together. Now, I do understand that Mr. Burkett has attended a meeting. He attended in March, but didn't stay for the public comment portion of the meeting, and I think Mr. Demerson said today that he had not ever attended a meeting. It is a challenge to balance what information comes out of the process of awarding economic development dollars. Economic development doesn't work if the public doesn't trust what's happening in the investment of those dollars, and the public needs to be informed as much as they can in order to hold their trust level. I respect that. I am the public. I feel the same way. What's tricky is to balance the client coming in. They have confidential information in how they operate their business. A lot of times when they're looking to move a workforce or build a new factory, it's a strategic business move on their part, and they don't want their competitors to know that they're even considering it, much less what their exact plans are. And they, out of compassion and respect for their workforce, they don't want their employees to know until the information has been solidified and they know what the plan is. So a lot of those people are going to be asked to change jobs, change locations, move their families. So from a compassion point of view, and a competition point of view, I completely understand why they, as a client, want the entire process to be confidential. So what we're trying to do is balance that, how to build the public trust and how the economic development dollars are spent versus just the very reality that those clients who are coming have to keep their information confidential or it's detrimental to their businesses. I'm not saying we always get that right. I welcome comment on how to do it better. We want that balance in a way that it's successful not only for the clients that we want to bring to Amarillo, but most importantly for Amarillo.
Is this ongoing turmoil with the board and the city affecting potential contracts? I know you guys are in talks with Gestamp. Am I saying that right?
Gestamp, yes. I think there's legitimate concern that there is. Those representatives were at the meeting last week and witnessed firsthand as all of that developed. So I think there is concern that our city government right now is front and center, and if I'm a business owner and I'm making choices about where to invest, Gestamp wants to invest millions of dollars, and I want to know that I'm doing that in as solid a place as I can be investing. So yes, there are potential projects being looked at, and those people, it's not like we're just looking at them. I wish we were the ones who got to pick who we dance with every time, but the reality is we're often the ones who are being paraded by. And other people or other communities are fighting for those same projects. And so we're not so much the one getting asked to dance as much as we're the one having to go and ask for a dance. And we cannot forget that in order to be competitive and continue to get these businesses to come to our community, we have got to have a good foot to put forward, not just the semblance of a good foot, but actually good, strong, healthy governance, as well as our community to back what we know is a good decision for them to put their businesses here. I am proud of the Commerce Building project. In my mind, it's taken a lot of flack, and I welcome any questions about that transaction. There were a lot of layers to it. It's very hard to explain some of the complexities of the project in a newspaper article of 500 words, or certainly a headline, or a Facebook posting. And that seems to be where a lot of people are trying to get their information on this project. If you want to be informed about that project, you're going to have to make a time investment to do something more than just a cursory examination of the newspaper articles or what someone is posting about it in social media. You're going to have to actually invest some time to figure out what the options were for WT, why it is so important for WT to have a downtown campus in Amarillo, what the real estate options were as far as price, why we as a board chose to pay the fair market appraisal value, and the fact that we did negotiate what we felt like was the best price. And one of our stated missions is to enhance the business environment of the city of Amarillo. Well, one of the things we state that we want to see happen is build entrepreneurship. Well, this was a group of private investors who were setting aside their opportunity to make money in their planned investment for that building. WT asked them to change the use of the building and to sell it for fair market value instead of reaping what they hoped to be was a greater profit from the plans that they had for the future of that building. So that's what we want. That's part of the AEDC's mission. We want to see local private investors putting dollars at risk to invest in our community. This was a building that's in distress downtown, in the heart of our downtown, so it's a win. We're going to get that building up and running. It's going to look nice. It's going to serve a vibrant purpose in our community. It fits well with the WT purpose. And if we want people to invest downtown, we're going to have to allow them to make a profit. And there's no shame in that. America is built on small businessmen who have to make a profit in order to feed their families. So maybe you disagree with the amount of profit that was made in this situation, but there was no ethical misconduct with regard to anybody involved in this transaction, and we paid fair market value. We used an independent, professional real estate appraiser to give us the number that we thought was a fair market value for that building, and that's what we paid. And everybody wins from that. The people who were willing to risk and make the initial investment win by making some profit. WT wins. They get a building downtown. We win as taxpayers because WT is going to get a 100,000 square foot building for roughly $12 million of input. Well, compare that to XL. They're having to build a building of similar size, and their investment is going to be $42 million. So in a lot of ways, I look at it and say, we saved the taxpayer $30 million. But nobody's presenting that perspective. And after a while, it's fatiguing and frustrating for us on the board to hear only one side of the story.